What up, what up? Over the weekend, Summer Studio got decorated. Technically, this is the hobby room in my apartment. It's shared between me and my partner. But we were like, you know what? It's time to decorate. It's not huge. It's just a little bit less bland than it used to be, and it's making me very excited to create in here again because I know I've not been posting super frequently or whatever, but at the same time, I don't pressure myself to do that. It's pretty exciting. We've got a new look to Summer Studio. And one of the things that we've put in this room are a collection of my paintings. And seeing them up on the walls makes me really happy. And so I was like, you know what? Let's do another painting. Not necessarily to add to the walls of this place, but just because I felt inspired. Let's paint. In 1926, a man named Graham Wallace came up with a 4-step theory for the creative process in his book, The Art of Thought. His 4 steps for creating and creativity in general are preparation, incubation, illumination, and finally, verification. Which, technically, you can apply these 4 steps to the general artistic process, but for me, the artistic process is a little bit different. The first step of preparation is usually gathering my ideas on Pinterest. The cat that is in my business is necessary. A hack that I have is I usually put my picture into Canva and then I utilize the same dimensions that the canvas has, and then I'm able to do sort of like a 1-to-1. Then I literally put paint to canvas. Unfortunately, I'm slightly lazy and sometimes I do just straight up put acrylic paint right on canvas, which is probably a nightmare for some people watching, but I don't really care. I start with the background most of the time with my paintings, and this one was no different. I picked this fabulous like forest green as the background. A huge part of the artistic process for me is eating food while you wait for your background to dry. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, we're eating butter with no chicken. A very important part of the artistic process also. Don't look at what's in my fridge. Was that like satisfying at all? I don't know. I'm gonna eat my food. I fear that I don't understand how people like vlog their daily life. I feel like I want to have a crack at it, but I don't have enough patience to be filming myself. And also my life isn't very interesting, I don't think. This is getting really existential. I haven't even finished the painting. Once I come back from lunch, I set up my paints. I like to sketch out what I am painting with paint rather than pen or pencil. It's a lot easier for me. It means I can sort of get into a flow state and edit as I go painting rather than getting worried about rubbing stuff out and going over it. I then mix my paints together and do about 1 million layers, honestly. A lot of my personal process is layering upon layering upon layering upon layering upon layering. I personally like to keep quite a loose grip on my brush. I really like mark making, and I'm a big fan of small works like this, sort of having that character to them. I've been painting for a long time, and I would be really curious in the comments to hear other people's experiences and maybe the unique things that they do during their artistic process. One for me is that I do tend to stick to the same sorts of brushes, weirdly, during my painting, but that does lead into me eating them and looking a little bit like Wolverine. And then we get to a point in my personal artistic process. Some would call it illumination. I call it the dread, which is where I start to question absolutely everything about my painting. Am I good at art? What am I doing here? So on and so forth. It is essential to my personal artistic process to think that every painting I do is ugly and have to ruminate on it for a little while. That's just me. And then I continue on. I usually like push past all of that weird imposter syndrome, and then I'm able to get a finished product. Now that I think that it's pretty done and I like it, one of the most important parts is waiting for it to dry so that you can cover it in some of this stuff, which is a matte varnish. But you have to wait like a couple of hours for it to dry. So in the meantime, we've got to do the least glamorous task of the artistic process, which is clean up. So I'm going to go do that. But before I do the varnish, an important step that I like to do is I like to sign my work. So I'm going to sign my work. Yes, I'm in different clothing. No, I didn't wait a couple of hours. It was 2 days later when I put on the matte varnish. Hush your mouth. And there we go. Very normal, totally fine artistic process to creating a painting. I definitely know that my methods are kind of lazy, but at the same time, I'm stubborn enough and have been doing this for too many years that I don't really want to change or stop. So there's that. I hope you guys aren't too mad at me for this video. Any like genuine painters who do it much better than me, you can rage at me in the comments. I'm not gonna read them. No, I'm joking. I will read them. I'm terrible at outros, but if you like this video, please like it and also subscribe. Also go follow my Instagram account, which has the same handle, for more like behind the scenes content, as well as like it might motivate me to properly be posting more on that account. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. I love you. Goodbye.